A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the EU-Ukraine Investment Conference organized by the European Commission and the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine. Our first speaker today, First Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Sviridenko, was unable to travel at the last moment, so she will now greet us in a video address.
Dear participants of the conference, the fact that today's event has gathered representatives from over 30 countries, nearly 500 international companies and around 100 Ukrainian communities show that attention to Ukraine remains unwavering. Year after year, Ukraine Reconstruction Conference gained new meaning. In the first year, we focused on how to stand strong together. In the second, on coordination efforts. Now we are discussing how to foster progress that had already begun. The Ukrainian economy is demonstrating extraordinary resilience. Last year we grew by over 5%, and this year we are again seeing growth that even exceeded our expectations. By the end of 2024, we expect to reach a 4% growth rate, despite Russia's systemic attempts to damage our energy infrastructure. Business are recovering, where development export channels and partner support remains steady. Investors are entering the country. This year I visited a building ground of a new pharmaceutical plant in Zakarpattia, a new tea production line in Dnipro, a building ground of French, Austrian, British companies that are preparing for openings. They proved that the war is not an embargo on investment. But we can do even more. I'm grateful to the EU for announcing today a new call for expression of interest to foster private EU investment critical to Ukraine's rebuilding efforts, aiming to support the implementation of the Ukraine investment framework under the EU's 50 billion Ukraine facility. We designed it together with the European Commission specifically for private funds, as we see a need to support corporate investments. During the EuroSea in Berlin, we already signed the first 1.4 billion euro top-up programs under the Ukraine investment framework. In the second phase of the program, it's planned to expand the range of instruments, attract new IFIs, as well as private investment funds to support the corporate and public sectors. For the current call for proposal, we already have 12 submitted proposals from 7 international financial institutions that should mobilize up to 6.6 billion euro. We are currently reviewing these proposals. We believe that with comprehensive risk-sharing instruments, blended finance and grants, the Ukraine investment framework will help attract up to 40 billion euro into the Ukrainian economy. Secondly, we have also organized investment projects in the single project pipeline by evaluating 700 public investment project concepts for 2025. We encourage IFIs and DFIs to review the existing pipeline, incorporate these projects into their funding application, or provide feedback on areas that might need further development. Therefore, I encourage you to explore investment opportunities in Ukraine, from tools provided by our European partners to the Made in Ukraine policy that include incentives for industrial parks and projects with significant investments. We aim to make Ukraine a profitable place to produce goods, invest in new production facilities, and export high-value-added products from Ukraine. So take this event as an opportunity to network and establish contacts with new partners in Ukraine and vice versa. I'm grateful to our European partner for organizing the EU-Ukraine Investment Conference toward recovery and greater integration. I'm also grateful to Poland for hosting this event. Thank you for the reliable support we feel from day to day.
Now please join me in welcoming to the stage the Director General for Neighborhood Policy and Enlargement Negotiations of the European Commission, Gert-Jan Koppmann.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here at this very impressive fair. I'm delighted to see so many supporters of Ukraine in the room, and I think it is important to realize that next week on the 19th we will mark a very sad moment, namely 1,000 days since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. We all know that the price that Ukraine and Ukrainians are paying for freedom is immense, as the relentless attacks continue. Nevertheless, as the Deputy Prime Minister has just said, Ukraine has not only showed admirable resistance, but it is also still making progress on the economic front, and all of that gives us hope that defending universal values and the international rules-based order will prevail, and that Ukraine will prevail. Now, the international community, of course, is doing its utmost to respond to the Russian invasion in a very determined and comprehensive manner. This, of course, is coming with very significant support, and I would like to underline that the EU, since the beginning of the war, has to date made available almost 124 billion euros between its member states and the European Union. This, of course, includes military support, support to the Ukrainian government in order to ensure that the Ukrainian government in return can maintain its functions through budget support, humanitarian work, and emergency assistance. The Ukraine facility that was created last year and that has an envelope of 50 billion euros is a key element in delivering this. To date, we have already, by the end of this year, we will have already disbursed, hopefully, 16 billion euros in much needed budget support. That, of course, is essential to ensuring that Ukraine's economy remains vibrant and that the country can continue to develop. The Ukraine facility is the largest single financial support instrument in the world, and it comes with the Ukraine Plan, which is an economic anchor for reforms, aligned also with Ukraine's accession process. And therefore it is playing a vital role in the work the international community is doing together with the Ukrainian authorities to help the economy and the country advance. Now, beyond the Ukraine facility, the G7 have decided on adding another $50 billion of support from revenues from confiscated frozen Russian assets. And the EU, from its side, in this context, is working to make available an additional 18 billion euros in macro financial assistance, closely articulated and aligned with the Ukraine plan. So I think that all of this is tangible evidence that the international community pays more than just lip service to its determination to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. I already referred to Ukraine's accession process, which in many ways is the polar star for the country, because ultimately it means that you as investors know that you'll be operating in a country that will be part of the largest internal market in the world, namely the EU's internal market, and that all of the guarantees that you have as investors in the EU will also be available in Ukraine. The opening of accession negotiations in June is therefore an absolutely critical step, not just politically, strategically, but also from an economic point of view. And I think if you look at the enlargement report, which assesses progress made by Ukraine and other candidate countries on the accession track, if you look at that, you will see that there are many, many improvements in the business environment that the country is introducing despite the extremely difficult circumstances. So with significant financial support, a clearly articulated accession track, and genuine progress on the ground, I think that despite the very difficult circumstances the country is facing today, the longer-term strategic orientation remains very firm, and as investors, you should be able to draw confidence from that. And therefore, investments by European companies in Ukraine remain not just crucial, but also entirely possible for linking the reconstruction of Ukraine with integration into the EU single market. That's, of course, why we are all here today. The goal of the EU-Ukraine Investment Conference, which we have the privilege of organizing together with Ukrainian Ministry of Economy, headed by Deputy Prime Minister Yulia Shrividenko, is to mobilize private investments for Ukraine's recovery, reconstruction, and modernization. And I hope that by the end of this conference, we will actually have made a tangible contribution to this by fostering new partnerships between EU and Ukrainian enterprises. We are not just grateful to our Ukrainian friends, but also very much to our hosts here today in Poland, namely the Polish authorities, which is another testimony to the fact that Poland is one of Ukraine's staunchest supporters. And it is particularly interesting because Poland itself this year celebrates its 20th anniversary as an EU member state. And anyone who walks around Warsaw, who visits other parts of the country, will see how Poland in the EU, how its EU accession track has fueled economic growth, helped modernization, transformation, and ultimately has led to a country that is as prosperous as many of the member states of the EU that joined much earlier. So EU membership is not just a theoretical, a strategic a choice for belonging to the world's largest economic political community, but it's also economically a huge benefit. And Ukraine will be joining that club, our club, and will therefore be benefiting from the same advantages that Poland had over the past years, namely increases in foreign investments, boosts in manufacturing and technology, and hopefully a deep integration into EU value chains and markets. That is what we want to achieve. And more generally, the ReBuild Ukraine Expo that is hosting us today is attracting thousands of business representatives who can take this message directly to the private sector. It's only by joining forces with the private sector that the economic recovery of Ukraine can be successful. My message, therefore, today, ladies and gentlemen, is that investment in Ukraine is not only possible, it's actually happening right now. Let me give you a few examples. Last month, we were delighted to facilitate an acquisition of Ukraine's third largest mobile provider, LifeCell, by European companies. And that was the largest foreign direct investment in Ukraine in the past 20 years. The investment was made possible by 2 loans from our partners at the EBRD and the IFC, backed by guarantees from the European Commission under the Ukraine Investment Framework, and also with the support of the government of France. Through our partner development finance institutions and local banks in Ukraine, we are today already supporting small and large-scale investments with loan guarantees and blended finance grants. This allows private investors to enter the Ukrainian market in a much de-risked manner. We are intensifying our engagement with the private sector to increase awareness of investment opportunities in Ukraine, as well as support through our development finance institutions. I'm therefore extremely pleased to announce that today, literally the moment I complete my speech now, we will be launching a new call for expression of interest from EU-based businesses to invest in Ukraine. This is a bold new step we're taking, which makes it possible for companies established in the EU to directly submit their investment ideas and projects to the European Commission. We will then be assessing this, looking at this, discussing it with you, and the idea is, on this basis, to build a pipeline of transformative private investments that can contribute to Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction. Let me close by underlining that Ukraine's journey towards EU accession is not just a government, public sector-led endeavor, but it is a collective effort between the private sector and the public sector and civil society that is engaging the entire economy and civil society. It therefore mobilizes all businesses and value chains, whatever their shapes and sizes. From large corporations to small entrepreneurs, from industry leaders to innovative startups, the whole Ukrainian business community is progressively integrating the EU single market. A deeper engagement from the EU private sector will serve as a powerful catalyst for Ukraine's integration, fueling growth and unlocking new opportunities. That is what today's conference is about. That is what today's bigger event is about. And I wish all of you an excellent and successful conference. Thank you very much.
Next, ladies and gentlemen, we will hear from our Polish hosts. Please welcome to the stage Jan Szyszko, Deputy Minister of Development Funds and Regional Policy of Poland.
Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Warsaw. It's a pleasure to have you here. I want to begin with a thank you to the European Commission and the government of Ukraine for organizing the European Union Ukraine Investment Conference. We are so happy to have you here in our capital city. And I believe it highlights the strategic role of Poland in the process of recovery and modernization of Ukraine. It is also my greatest pleasure to welcome the Ukrainian authorities here in Warsaw, together with Director General Gerd Koopman, who we had the pleasure to hear just now, who will be contributing to this landmark event together with other distinguished ministers and highest representatives from Europe and beyond. As Director Koopman has said, walking around Warsaw and seeing Warsaw, you can see the economic effects of EU membership of Poland in the European Union. What I'd like to say and underline just at the start of this short intervention of mine is that we as Poland and my ministry are very keen, very happy and very active in sharing our experience of investing European funds with our Ukrainian partners. We are looking at the data. We are seeing that our model, the Polish model, the decentralized model of investing European funds is very effective. And if things work well, it's always good to share the good experiences with our friends and allies and have them being implemented elsewhere. So the training programs with our Ukrainian colleagues for Ukrainian civil servants are already ongoing. We are very happy to and very looking forward to have them going on also in the future. And we're also very happy to intensify those experience sharing formats that we have, both for the benefit of the Ukrainian economy and for the European accession process itself. Demobilization and scaling up private investments are of crucial importance for delivering the comprehensive reconstruction of Ukraine from the war-induced losses. Indeed, the investment needs are huge. The recovery and reconstruction alone will cost a staggering close to $500 billion US dollars over the next decade, as per estimates of the World Bank. We expect that, in addition, the future EU accession of Ukraine and its integration with the single market are also crucial crucial factors which will boost the demand for EU structural funds and foreign direct investment in Ukraine. Therefore, we have no illusions that we need to incentivize the business sector to trade with and invest in Ukraine. And we can see the fundamental role of the Polish companies in this regard, which already have a vast experience of cooperation with their Ukrainian partners and the unreplaceable or irreplaceable knowledge of the region and of the markets of Central Europe. The coordination of the Ukraine facility that has been so widely mentioned before rests within the ministry that I have the immense pleasure to represent today, the Ministry of Development Funds of Poland, and we are working closely with the European Commission and the member states on the implementation of this instrument. The guarantees from the EU budget, the extension of war insurance, and the improved business environment in Ukraine can and will foster the increased involvement of the private sector. The Polish Development Bank, the BGK or BGK, using the Polish pronunciation, is already using the financing from the Ukraine Investment Framework to top up its support for the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises operating in Ukraine, and has now applied for the guarantees and grants for a new package of financial instruments. I'm very pleased to say that we are also seeing the increased interest of Polish companies in applying for the funding that is supported from the Ukraine Investment Framework. Here I would also express my gratitude and thanks to the engagement and work of the chairman of Paweł Kowal. In order to respond to this interest, we are creating other financing instruments that are complementary to the second pillar of Ukraine facility. The Ministry of Development Funds and Regional Policy has recently signed an agreement with the BGK to offer 250 million Polish zlotys in preferential loans for Polish entrepreneurs who are willing to engage in the reconstruction efforts, who are willing to invest in Ukraine, export to Ukraine. This is only a pilot program that we already are seeing as very attractive and interesting to the private partners, and I must say has also been launched after consultations with the private sectors. We believe in first talking to the potential beneficiaries and then coming out with mechanisms and solutions to their needs. We are very happy with the initial interest, and should that be proven and that interest should remain stable in the near future, we would be also looking forward to expand the mechanism in the future. So, my appeal to the Polish private sector would be to get interested in the mechanism and show demand in order to stimulate the public supply in the coming months. I believe that this program and the Polish entrepreneurs can contribute their best across the sectors, which are of vital importance for the successful recovery of Ukraine. You know, this includes construction, healthcare, IT, the pharma industry. It is indeed very cross-sectoral. I do hope that the ongoing and post-war rebuilding, economic modernization, and the westward shift of Ukrainian foreign trade routes will become an important impulse for bolstering the investment flows between the EU and Ukraine, with Poland once again playing a crucial role in the process, becoming a hub for Ukraine's reconstruction. On top of that, it is also important to support the improved framework conditions for doing business in Ukraine. The Ministry of Development Funds and Regional Policy has already for a long time been implementing Polish development assistance projects focused on the development of entrepreneurship and local business environments institutions in the Ukrainian regions. Concluding my opening remarks, I would like to wish you all a lovely and successful conference, great debates and inspiring talks and conversations. I hope the conference will bring a lot of inspiring guidance and advice on the forward-looking investments in Ukraine's recovery. Once again, feel welcome in Warsaw. We hope that you enjoy the stay in the capital and during the conference. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, registered participants of the EU-Ukraine Investment Conference are welcome to join us for a light lunch right behind the stage. The entrance will be to the right of the stage, and then we will continue at 1 p.m. with our high-level panel. Thank you very much.